What's going on, guys? It's Picsoleated, and today we are looking at a special pair of sneakers. This collab is one I've tried time and time again to get my hands on, and I've failed every damn time. It's almost ridiculous at this point how many L's I've taken on Fear of God products. Seriously, Jerry, just ship them to random houses and you'll probably get them to more fans than whatever Nike's doing. Of course, we're talking about the Fear of God ones. Of course, we're talking about... Of course, we're talking about the Fear of God ones in the Oatmeal colorway. You might notice that I don't have them on feet, that I have them in hand instead. I hate to do this to y'all, but this is the only way I could give you guys a look at these kicks right here because these are not my pair. Big shout out to my friend Jonathan Mortley. This is his pair. The only reason I'm able to do this video is because he was generous enough to lend me his pair for the video. He gets multiple pairs on drop days, so message him on IG. I'll leave it in the description and I'll leave it up here. Go check him out. If you're in the greater Toronto area or just need pairs or want a pair of shoes, let him know. Hit him up and see what he can do. And you know, because we're not doing an actual on feet, we get more face-to-face time with the shoe and can ask it more personal questions that we don't normally get to, like, what's your favorite breakfast food? How do you get your daily workout in? You know, things of that sort. But actually though, because I can't give you guys an on feet, I'll give you an on feet of these instead because they're similar in a lot of ways. I wonder if you can see how. Should be pretty obvious. The Fear of God ones in this fibrous oatmeal colorway released on Saturday, November 2nd, 2019 to much acclaim and sold out pretty much everywhere. It is a Nike and Fear of God 1 release. Jerry Lorenzo's design chops have been put on vivid display throughout all his Nike releases. I mean, they've all been pretty much the same shoe in a different colorway, but they are definitely lasting in some way or another, or people are just buying them out, so you know there's something there. The Fear of God 1, a shoe that's been around since last year, has had numerous releases so far in multiple colorways. Some go real hard, some go kind of hard, and some we could have done without. And I'm only saying that for you guys because I actually really like all the colorways that have come out so far, save for one of them. Does that make me a hypocrite? Maybe. I'm not really sure, but maybe. Do I care? No, not really. Let me enjoy them colorways. The shoe retailed for $350 US or 450 Canadian, which came up to 501 Canadian after taxes here in Ontario. That's a pretty crazy retail price, but if you've seen the shoes in person, you know what you're paying for. Not much. Honestly, even taking all the premium aspects of the shoe into account, I don't really know if it's worth the retail price, but you pay for the design, the brand, and a lot of other intangibles that come with the shoe. And you have to consider this design is so unique and incredible it justifies the price you pay to a certain degree. I mean, this is the first time Nike worked with a designer that wasn't in-house and let them create their own design that wasn't based off another shoe. Flashback to when the Fear of God ones released in the original black and light bone colorways. This shoe was very polarizing and it split the sneaker community down the middle. But a lot of people also not too thrilled about it. There were many people saying it looked like a cast on feet, like this is what you walk off the basketball court in once you get injured. Then again, there were also the people who were praising it, saying there was nothing like this they've ever seen before and it's a bold design. I'll tell you where I stand on that spectrum, but first let's do a quick unboxing and go over the materials. The shoe came in that pink box that all Nike Fear of God sneakers have come in so far. When you open the box, you get a few goodies like this giant nylon dust bag that could probably also be used as a tote. Then you have a tiny aluminum bag with extra accessories like a set of extra laces and a bunch of lace toggles. And finally, in the bigger aluminum bags, you get the shoes themselves. Now, these shoes are super futuristic and very sleek. The fact that these are basketball shoes still baffles me. The upper of the shoe is made of a plethora of materials. We've got the soft but rugged mesh making up the collar all the way down to the midfoot of the shoe in that oatmeal color that covers the rest of the shoe as well. There's a cloth tongue tab running from the toe cap to the tongue of the shoe. Then you have this bold yet minimal TPU lace cage running across both sides of the shoe with a Nike swoosh on the bottom third of it. The shoe has oatmeal colored thick rope laces running across the front through the eyelets on the cage and the mesh. Then the shoe makes a drastic change by making the toe box this super soft, grainy premium nubuck leather that is a direct contrast to the mesh that makes up the rest of the shoe. It kind of makes you sit back and go, what the fudge? Regardless, I love it, and of course we have this 3M taping that forms the mudguard and secures the front of the toe box. Of course, we can't have a Fear of God 1 review without mentioning the infamous entry design on this shoe. This has been causing havoc for people who have a difficult time removing the shoe. There's a zipper on the back, and I gotta say, it is very smooth. Once zipped down, you'll see there's a giant supportive heel panel in the shoe that runs all the way to the top, made of premium nubuck and fabric. On the inside of the panel, there is Fear of God branding and the men's and women's size of the shoe. The rest of the inside of the shoe is lined with premium suede fabric as well as the insole. Finally, onto the giant midsole. This bulky but aerodynamic looking midsole is a defining characteristic of the shoe. Anytime I think of the shoe or recall the shoe, the first thing I can think of is this wavy midsole pattern right here. This one right here. The midsole has Fear of God branding on the back and his grandfather's military service number on the side, so you take a piece of Jerry everywhere you go. And finally, the outsole has these round grooves for traction and an icy blue tinted double stacked Zoom Air unit in the heel. Now I can't tell you by my personal account about sizing and fit for these, but I've heard across the board that you should go half a size down, and I've heard it so much that I can recommend that to you as well, to definitely go half a size down in these. When it comes to comfort, once again, I can't give you my personal experience with the Fear of God ones since I've never owned a pair, but I do own the shoot-arounds thanks to the lovely P, and I believe they have the same cushioning tech implemented here. The midsoles are almost the same thing. You can even see the blue double stacked zoom units right here. And if that's the case, I can tell you that these are extremely comfortable. The Fear of God shoot-arounds are some of the most comfortable shoes I've ever worn, so if you're looking for comfort in your shoes, these kicks got that covered. Of course, the most fascinating thing about this shoe is the fact that it is a basketball shoe, but will almost always be considered and be worn as a lifestyle sneaker. Nike specifically came to Jerry Lorenzo with the issue that nobody was wearing their basketball sneakers off the court as lifestyle sneakers, and to Jerry Lorenzo's credit, he did the unthinkable. He got people to wear basketball shoes as lifestyle sneakers. But onto the real issue here. I don't know if this is the case with all other Fear of God ones that have released, but man, are there tons of quality control issues here. To start off, there are plenty of glue stains all throughout the shoe. I was talking to Jonathan, the guy who owns these shoes, and he told me this was his pair with the best quality control, so there are pairs with even worse glue stains than this. On top of that, there was frayed stitching on the back. And finally, the zippers. These zipper stoppers right here are the cheapest zipper stoppers I've ever seen. Let's see if I can get a focus. I could probably pry these off with my hands, but not only that, the zipper tends to stop midway anytime I zip it up or down. Considering that's the only way you can remove your foot from the shoe, that's a pretty terrifying situation. And I know this because I had my own similar situation with the shoot-arounds, and this is probably the worst thing you're gonna see on the internet about these, because I've never seen anyone talk about this, or I've never seen it happen to anyone in particular, but I actually got my foot stuck in here because the zipper was stuck up here somewhere, and as you can see, there are no come on, focus. And as you can see, there are no zipper stoppers here because I had to remove them to get the zipper off, and it was actually not difficult to take them off at all. All you had to do was push the zippers up a little harder than usual, and they just popped off eventually. But it makes you wonder, for a shoe so expensive, how do you get away with cutting corners like that? Have you heard of any terrible QC stories? Let me know in the comments if you did. Putting that situation aside, these shoes are still absolutely stunning. They still use premium quality materials for a majority of the shoe, and there's nothing else quite like it in Nike or any other company's sneaker lineup. The sneaker released in several other colorways in the past, starting with the originals, the black and the light bone, moving on to the spruce green and whatever the orange one was called, and then onto the sail, which I think should have been called white or something else, because it's definitely not sail, it's whiter than whatever sail is. And there was the amarillo, or what I like to call the omelet yellow, and finally we have the ever so fibrous, delicious oatmeal colorway right here. This is easily one of my favorite colorways of the bunch. It also sounds delicious because I eat oatmeal every morning, almost every morning. Once again, shout out to Jonathan Mortley for letting me borrow his. Go check him out on IG or message him on IG if you ever need sneakers in the future. He gets pairs. That's all from me. Are you guys into these, or are Fear of God ones not your thing? Let me know in the comments. Catch you later. Picsoleated is getting his fiber.